Hey fellow tankers, it's Mobius Y here once again with another update review. Something that I've been neglecting to do for several months now because, let's face it, I'm lazy. Anyways, so update 2.1 rolled out today. I apologize, I'm quite tired right now. And you can check out the overview notes right here off of the front splash page. So when you select it, it does give you a nice overview on exactly what went on. Basically, all that gets left out is the bug fixes. There were no real changes to tanks aside from the ones that are indicated here. With update 2.1 coming right on the corner, here's a look at some of the features and changes that are arriving in this newest version. The Panzer 4. The German Panzer 4 will be a bit different from update 2.1 onward, as it's being split up into three different variants: the Panzer 4 Ausf A, which is a tier 3 now, the Panzer 4 Ausf D, which is now a tier 4, and the Panzer 4 Ausf H, tier 5. Now, the Panzer 4 Ausf H is not the same as the Panzer Hydro. I'm just letting you know that right now. The KV-1S, similarly, the Soviet KV-1S is also being split up into the KV-1S at tier 5, and the KV-85 at tier 6. Marks of excellence. You may have noticed these in some of your games here and there. Marks of excellence arrived with update 2.0, but now you'll be able to show them off in style with actual gun barrel markings. The icon would show up showing if you have a mark of excellence on your tank in the post-game battle results screen, but there would actually not be a mark of excellence on your tank. Now they are visible and available to be looked at in-game by yourself as well as other tankers. Maps returning. This is what I'm a little excited about myself. Maps that were removed to smooth the transition to Xbox One are now starting to be added back into the game. Added maps include Malinovka, Murovanka, Steeps, Cliff, and Komarn. I'm really sorry, I'm having trouble reading tonight. Major changes: radio module and radio range added to package and stats view. By the stats view, it's those little radioactive green bars on the right side of your garage when you have a tank highlighted, which honestly are bars that should just be ignored anyways. Stationary camouflage rating added to tank details view, so whenever you highlight a tank and press the Y button to open the details, there's another bar indicating how well its stationary camouflage is. In other words, how well camouflaged the tank is when it's sitting completely still. Again, it's another bloody green radioactive bar that really should not be listened to at all. It gives a fairly general idea, so you can kind of compare from one tank to another, but you can't. But it simply has a rating from low to average to high. So if you have two tanks with an average camo rating, but one's actually higher than the other, you can't really tell just by looking at it which one's higher. Tank hit points added to tank details view as well. And as always, for more information about Update 2.1, visit http://xbox.worldoftanks.com, which is in fact what we're going to look at right now. There was a couple things left out from there, but they indicated the important stuff that you basically need to know about this update. So let's take a look at Update 2.1 patch notes posted by the good old Hector from Wargaming. The exact date for this patch will be announced soon, as this was posted August 25th when he posted the patch notes, so they're essentially about 2 days ago, 3 days ago, depending on when you're watching this video. The exact date for this patch will be announced soon. Until then, here's the following patch details for you all to absorb. 2.1 update sizes: Xbox One 6.8 gigabytes, Xbox 360 91 megabyte title update plus a 369 megabyte update patch. So it won't be a very long download for the Xbox 360. On the Xbox One, however, you could be looking at anywhere between 15 minutes to maybe an hour and a half, if depending on your connection. So the first section of the patch notes are new features. All platforms, addition of gun barrel art for marks of excellence for tank tiers 5 and higher. These reflect each tank's marks of excellence medal, which can be found in the stats tab. One mark is awarded by averaging more damage and assist damage than the top 65% of players in that tank. 2 marks are awarded by averaging more damage and assist damage than the top 85% of players of that tank. 3 marks are awarded by averaging more damage and assist damage than the top 95% of players in that tank. Now, what it doesn't specify is this is not a per game thing. It's not like the mastery badges where you can just have one fluke awesome game and get an ace tanker. Marks of excellence require some dedication. They're not going to be awarded. You shouldn't expect to see one, I should say, within your first 10 games of a tank, for example. It'll take several games to even get one, anywhere between probably like 30 to 50 if you are consistently outperforming other players in that tank. And basically what you need to do is just, progressively play well in the same tank over a fairly lengthy string of games. You can have the odd flop here and there, which I did myself, for example, in the Object 416, where I do have a mark of excellence on it. I had the odd bad game here and there, but for the most part, I played stupid good games in that tank, so I got a pretty easy mark of excellence on that. All of your earned medals can now be viewed per tank in the Stats tab. Players exceeding the spam threshold for radial menu messages will have those commands ignored for a penalty period. The following maps have been updated and made HD for Xbox One and added back to the game. Malinovka Rain, Murovanka, excited for that one to come back. Steeps, I'm also excited for that one to come back. Cliff Rain, excited for both of those to come back. And Komarin. Proving ground maps now have an option to press the X button to retry the mission feature to jump straight back into battle, which is a nice little addition to have for your Proving Grounds choices if you enjoy running in the Proving Grounds missions. Major changes on all platforms. Radio module and radio range added to package and stats view. The radio module, you can see that it changes as you change packages as well. And again, they've got that radioactive stat bar, which, it will show changes, but it doesn't give you exact numbers naturally. So, not really something to be 100% relied on for accurate comparisons between tanks. Stationary camouflage rating added to tank details view. You know how I feel about that. Tank hit points added to tank details view. Pretty handy, especially when you jump from a stock tank to an upgraded turret. Minimum number of players needed for team training has been reduced to 2. This one is huge because for people like myself and my good buddy Joe the Frogman, we have been wanting, since team training has been introduced, we've been wanting to get people together to have a session that, for example, he would stream and would later put up onto his YouTube, and just have people giving tips on a certain subject, a certain training subject that we want to cover together. The problem is the team training lobbies had to have at least 6 people. So, because we live in the world of OCD, ADHD, and short attention spans, it was borderline impossible to get him, myself, and 4 other people together in a lobby for at least 20 minutes of, chilling out and shutting the fuck up and actually doing what specific tasks to showcase what we're talking about when we're discussing a certain mechanic within the game. For example, if we wanted to talk about spotting mechanics in the game and saying if you're sitting close to a friendly tank and you shoot your gun, they also lose their camo value. And then, we'd have a clip where there's 2 tanks that suddenly get spotted because they're right beside each other and one of them fired. Just something specific like that. That was borderline impossible to do. But now, since there's only a requirement of 2, it could be just me and Joe the Frogman jumping into a lobby together, and we can say simply, okay, how long do we want to do this for? Do we want to cover something extremely specific, so we only do like a 5 or 10 minute kind of training session, or do we want to cover a broad spectrum of a certain topic, and potentially spend like half an hour to an hour doing this? So expect to see some kind of detailed videos in those regards, as well as I would personally like to start covering Tactics Talks episodes, showing how you should, how I feel you should properly play a map, and frankly how a lot of people think that you should properly play a map, and increasing your odds of winning your game or having a good game on that map. Anyways, moving on. I started to babble there, I apologize. Changes to tanks, tech tree tanks. The Panzer IV Osf is now a tier 3 German medium tank. The Panzer IV Osf D is now a Tier 4 German medium tank, and the Panzer IV Ossif H is now a Tier 5 German medium tank, all added to the tech tree. The KV-1S, which used to be a Tier 6 Russian heavy tank, is now changed to the KV-1S Tier 5 Russian heavy tank, and the KV-1S essentially got replaced by the KV-85 at Tier 6 in the Russian heavy tank tree, leading up to the IS-7. Additional changes across all platforms. The description for Marks of Excellence has been updated for clarity. Improved log entry text when purchasing store bundles. Informational bar at the top of the garage was given a new look. Tank icons were reshot to be bigger and include more detail in the reel and the tech tree. Changes to Xbox One. Many tanks had their camouflage, tiling, and scaling altered to improve visual quality and realism. Many tanks are getting additional animated attachment treatment on Xbox One. Visual improvements to tank fires and explosions. So, pretty much all visual changes to the Xbox One so far. We haven't really gone into anything major as of yet. There have definitely been no, changes to currently existing tanks aside from the Panzer IV being split into 3 tanks and the KV-1S being split into 2 tanks. Those are the only differences so far. There's been no buffs or nerfs to any tanks at all in this update. Bug fixes across all platforms. Fixed a rare issue where players would load the incorrect assets for a level but still be on the collision for the actual level. Tank exhaust no longer toggles when treads are broken or when tank is shooting while tank treads are broken. Cleaned up collision meshes on the T-44, the Mouse, the 121, the T-30, the T-95, the Object 140, the T-25-2, and the T-32. Fixed the burst for the 37mm T-16 gun on all M5 Stuart packages that use it. Fires 5 rounds of 1 shell, not 1 burst of 5 shells. Camera controls in the garage are now disabled when in the post-battle results screen. The log entries for resupply will now show gold and silver spent if both are spent. Fixed an audio performance issue in all levels. Crew audio should now be active in proving grounds levels. Fixed package downgrade arrows to point down as they should. The T-34-88's gun now uses the correct gun audio. That is a Russian-German cross-training Russian premium tank. The 7.5cm Quak 42 L70 gun now uses the correct audio. That's a 75mm German gun. Rain and thunder audio won't play during loading screens now. Fixed missing audio when panning in the overview map. Many destructibles now have the correct audio effect. The lights in the rail yard section of Himmelsdorf Night now properly cast shadows. Fixed users being able to have 4 active ops if a bundle with an op is purchased while 3 ops were active. Fixed truncation of the Tier 8 icon when selected in the post-battle results screen. Fixed a rare case where the game would become unresponsive when receiving a celebration while tabbing. Assault offense is now properly localized. Fixed Russian localization issues on various loading screens. Crew in the reel is now properly translated in Russian. Fixed truncation of the team training and proving grounds descriptions in the main menu in some languages. Fixed collision on certain boulders in both Redshire and South Coast. Service record is now properly localized in Japanese. Fixed Russian language truncation in the tech tree for tank progress. Selected operations will only show in the garage when in multiplayer mode. Driving practice and target practice no longer have swapped translations in multiple languages. Contextual menu options are now properly localized in Korean. Fixed Japanese text in the garage help screens. The minimum download research tank warning now correctly references the tank's name rather than the parent tank. The technical engineer celebration screen pops up immediately after the player earns it. And lastly, they have fixed that pesky flying mouse. For now. Okay, moving on to the platform-specific bug fixes. Bug fixes for Xbox One. Art asset fixes to Wide Park, Pearl River, Karelia, Redshire, and Prokhorovka. Players that are invited to a platoon from another server are now correctly directed to that server. That was a major pain in the ass since the beta. Fixed Fury Barrel art so it's not obscured by darker camouflage. Fixed a number of tank treads that appeared too shiny. IS-6 destroyed state now displays the proper texture. As before, it would go all nice and white and chromey. Corrected the Panzerkampfwagen 35-ton textures to be full resolution. Fixed blown-out winter camouflage for German tanks. Fixed the destroyed hull model for the VK3001P, the AMX 1390, the AMX 12-ton, the M24 Chaffee, the AMX Chaffee, and the M6A2E1 Mutant. Fixed destroyed turret model for the AMX 1375, M24 Chaffee, and the Tiger 1. Fixed the textures on the rear of the T-30. Fixed inscriptions overlapping tank geometry on the T-34, the T-30, and the M5 Stuart. Fixed a number of tanks that were showing the incorrect destroyed track model. The AMX Chaffee now has the correct destroyed gun model. Fixed wobbly wheels on the T-57, M7 Priest, IS-8, and the Su-85B. Fixed floating to destroyed turrets on the following tanks, the KV-4, the T-127, and the Panzer III Alsif J. Fixed a missing texture on a machine gun attached to the T-54. Fixed some gun clipping with part of the tank on the IS-8, the STI, the T-3488, the Panzerkampfwagen 34, and the Black Prince. Adjusted inscription placement on the IS-8. Fixed turret attachment point on the M48A1 Patton, the T2 Medium, and the 5916. Fixed placement of the engine fire effects for the M5355. Fixed Object 140 turret disappearing when 85 meters away. That was quite amusing. Active Scout training is now using all HD assets. That's one of the training options. And bug changes to the Xbox 360. Art asset fixes to Angst War, Fisherman's Bay War, El Huluf Rain, and Siegfried Line. Tutorial images are now the correct color in colorblind mode. Corrected gun animation for the Panzer V Panther AW package. That's one of the packages available on the Panther tank, obviously, as it is the Panzer V. So, that is literally it for the patch notes, folks. If you don't believe me, go check them out yourself. I'm not making crap up, and Wargaming's not hiding anything. They didn't nerf the Super Pershing again. They didn't nerf your favorite tank. They didn't buff the red team. They're not trying to screw you over or force more money out of you or blah, 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 blah. Conspiracy, conspiracy, conspiracy. Nothing happened. I just went over the update notes with you. Honestly, just new maps coming back. A couple changes to the tech tree. With some of the tanks being split up across the tech tree. As well as a couple changes to the UI and visual assets on some of the maps. And that's essentially it. So, I mean, what can you do? If you want to check out the patch notes yourself, I strongly recommend it. Head to forum-xbox.worldoftanks.com and go check out the patch notes from there in the news and announcements section. Anyways, I hope this helps you guys understand what exactly happened with update 2.1 going on. Very exciting update. I really hope to utilize the addition of the training rooms requiring only 2 people. Using that for some really much more intimate training sessions, informational kind of videos, as I'm going to call them, with myself and possibly some other friends, but definitely with my buddy Joe the Frogman. So keep your eyes open for videos like those in the future, both on my channel and on his. And in the meantime, this has been Mobius Y. I hope I've helped you guys out with what's going on with the latest update. Thanks very much for watching, as always. Hope to see you on the battlefield, and happy tanking. Have a good night.